Taxi!
Or maybe I'll answer this thing I said to you earlier on. Probably I'll answer this better than both of us, for sure.
Yeah.
Who, Larry Grayson?
Yeah.
But you'll answer this better. Now, Paul, you come across new drivers a lot.
Yeah.
Just got their badge.
Yeah.
Do you see drivers who've just got their badge and within the first 12 minutes pack up the game altogether?
12 minutes?
12 months.
Oh, 12 months. Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
and they
very
say, I
rare.
can't stand it. I know.
Very rare, but
very
I
rare.
have had it. Yeah, I've had it quite a lot.
And what is it that makes them do that?
You just contradicted yourself. You said very rare. Very
Very
rare.
rare. It's not
I've
like-
had it quite a lot. Very
Yeah,
rare.
Well, I've been doing it a long time. Yeah, I've been doing it a long time, so I have seen it lots.
Well, if you're seeing it, so
frequent.
other people are seeing it, because you're not seeing
Yeah.
all the drivers, are you? You're seeing
Not
X
seen
amount.
all- no, exactly. That's
Yeah,
true.
that's right, yeah. So-
Why do they pack up? There's so many reasons.
What, within the first 12 months of
Yeah.
getting their badge, they pack up and don't drive a cab again? Do you think that's because they haven't given it enough time? They haven't stuck at it?
Maybe, and it becomes so. I think when you're on the knowledge, you've got all your people around you, ain't you? You're at school. You've got your friend. You make new friends. It's all very
Pull it up,
nice.
Paul. Pull it up to you.
It's all very nice. You're making new friends. We're all on a journey together, and all of a sudden, bang, you're on your own, aren't you? If you're not a sociable person, if you're not that people's person, and you're a bit insular, it's a lonely job.
I
It's
can
a
think
lonely
that,
job.
that has something to do with it, but I think it's more to do with the fact that it's not the job for you. Like I said to you earlier, we were professional drivers our whole lives. So if you was a plumber and you're coming to driving a taxi, it's a different concept of a job.
Yeah.
And it isn't the job for everybody. We know how to deal with road rage and traffic and customer service skills because you've been PHV Dave or whatever before. Then with those skills, if you haven't got those skills, I can see a lot of people struggle. But I do mention, nearly every driver I've ever had have problems always mentions loneliness.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't find it lonely.
I don't find it lonely at all because I get on with people.
No, we get
enjoy
on
it.
with ourselves. That we're so
Yeah.
we like ourselves
there's
so much.
I'll get through the day. It depends on what you want to do. A lot of people think you're going to earn more money than what you're going to earn. Yeah, I mean, it's not a license to print money.
Yeah.
Like people say it is. You've got to work hard. You've got to do long hours. No one said you can earn £500 in 6 hours. No one's ever said that. You've got to push. You've got to push yourself. Driving for 8 to 10 to 12 hours is graft. A lot of people don't like hard work.
Yeah.
They think, when I pass the knowledge, it's going to be this, it's going to be that, and I'm going to meet my mates in the cafe and da-da-da-da. None of that happens. But most of the people I did the knowledge with, never see them again. Do you? Do you see
Yes,
them?
yeah. Not every day, like every other month we meet, for breakfast.
Yeah.
It's called a cabbage breakfast, but you're not invited.
No.
Okay, yeah, I did the knowledge with you, did I?
We
No, we do. I do actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a cabbage group chat. Cabbage
Yeah.
breakfast. It's
No,
called
I'm
the
in a
cabbage
group chat.
breakfast.
Oh, we're all in group chats.
No, we've got the cabbage
Everyone moves
breakfast.
Oh, no, I'm not in that anymore.
Oh, I'll
No,
put you
I
in it
left.
today. You're going in it now. You don't
I'd
turn up.
love I'd love to, but you know what I mean. It's like it's not how you think it's going to be sometimes.
What you just mentioned about meeting up for dinners and stuff, you're doing it once a month. We used to actually meet up every night. Every night at 8 o'clock.
We did to start with.
Yeah.
We did to start with, but then you just sort of like
Well, you figure out it costs you money.
it costs. That's what most people worry about.
Yeah.
It's like, if I stop, it's going to cost me 50 quid or 40 quid, and then I feel like I've got to buy someone coffee and da da da. Like, I've never thought like that, but I know that's how they're thinking. They're looking at you and you're thinking, oh.
You're added.
Yeah, cheers. I'm in. But yeah, I love to meet up with people and have a bit of dinner and stuff. And people will go, oh, well, you can afford it. Well, they can all afford it, but it's whether they want to do it or not. Do you know what I mean? And it's
I found that when I go to work, I want to go to work.
Yes.
If I want to go to dinner with you, it's not the expense of going to dinner. That's
Yes.
lovely. But that's an entertainment thing after work.
Yeah.
So I'd rather do an 8-hour shift non-stop than do a 10-hour shift with a 2-hour break in the middle. Or whatever we was doing.
Yeah.
But you did find, and everybody who's ever done this, you'd be many a time, the last fare at 7:30 took you to Muswell Hill. You're meeting your mates at the Friars Delight at 8 o'clock. So you're jumping down from Muswell Hill to get to Holborn, to get to the chip shop. You get there, you sit down, you have your dinner, spend an hour. You feel a little bit bloated and fatigued because you want to go to sleep now after your dinner.
Yep.
You jump out in the cab and you find that you're ticking over slowly to get back into the groove of things. And then you're out till 3 in the morning when
kills your shift. That's
yeah,
what
and you
people
think, well,
say.
I'm out
Kills
till
your
3 in the
shift.
morning. I could have been out till midnight, really, and not done any of this and had a night's sleep. And there is a time, isn't there, when we go on too long through the shift. We come home too late. And generally when I came home at 3 a.m, I needed a gin and tonic to sort of just chill down. And then you find you've sat there till 4:30 and you're into the next day.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
gets a
And
bit
the
hard.
next day and then it takes you ages to get into the next day. No, absolutely.
But anyway, today we've come here though to talk about thingy, Paul. You sent us a little email yesterday.
Yeah.
And no, me or Dave both.
Is this a
ignored it and
Kipper
didn't read
special?
it.
Is this a Kipper special?
So less wages, and what was the other? It was 2 subjects here. One, less wages, and how to fiddle the cash in card.
Yeah.
Generate more cash, wasn't it? But without asking for cash.
Yeah. I mean, we're coming up to the time where we're going to be looking at the meter increase again, and the news is that it ain't going to be a big increase this year.
And for what reason? What is the foundation of that?
What was the choices? Do you remember roughly what the choices were?
No,
on
but
the consultation.
No, I don't. To be honest, what I read yesterday was that it's going to be around about 7%. They're thinking about putting it from £3.80 to £4.
Did you take part in the consultation?
No.
Did you, Dean?
Got nothing
No,
to
the
do with me.
LTDA does though, doesn't it? And
No, everyone
ECG.
can. The public can.
Oh, you mean fill it in online? I
Yeah.
thought you meant be on the board.
No.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh,
Did
did
you?
you? Oh, did you?
Yeah.
I don't read
What
email.
what do you
It
go?
goes to
what
the
do you-
public, that does.
Yeah, but
Now,
what
that
did you-
is strange, in my opinion. Like, hello, Mr. Public, would you like taxi fares to go up? No. The end. Why
It's
would
like
they want
asking
it to
them,
go up?
yeah, would you like new kitchens from B&Q to go up?
Yeah.
No, we like them cheap.
Yeah, well, it's the most ludicrous thing ever. You know,
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So how does that compute to us?
So they consult them on train fares going up, don't they? And ask them, and then, do they?
Yeah, they're
Or
never
are we
gonna-
the only ones, or what?
They're the only. I would think they would do that as well, but I don't know. And then they're never going to say they want train fares to go up, are they?
I don't know. Train fares going up and stuff does make the news.
It makes the
there's
news.
increases.
I'm talking about consultation. Do they ask the punters whether they want train fares to go
So
up?
What do you
do you
go for when you go on the consultation? What do you click?
It depends on loads of different things. Off
You
the top
don't
of my
just
head.
go large like in McDonald's.
I never go large in McDonald's. I always go medium. No, I don't always. It depends. It depends. Like there's been loads since I've been a cab driver, and loads of different reasons why I've made my choices. But at the moment, the way the expenses are going, you have to go large.
Yeah, you got to go large.
You've got to.
I go large anyway, obviously.
It's got. I mean, the main problem we have right now, and I'm hoping it's going to calm down this year. I've read a few things. Is insurance. Insurance is out of control.
Oh, well,
It's
we touched
out
on insurance
of
yesterday,
control.
didn't we?
It's got to a stage where it's terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
It's terrifying. It's a perfect storm. The cost of labour, the cost of parts.
Cost of corruption.
Yeah, I mean, you know, there's so many fiddles going on in insurance. I could sit here all day and talk about it.
Tell us one.
What one? Where do I start? I mean,
Anyone, just pick one. Go on. Pick one.
well, when there's a non-fault accident,
Yeah,
you know, you've probably spoke about this. So
yeah,
No,
go on,
no,
yeah.
we know nothing.
We don't know nothing about
you
it.
don't know
yeah.
anything about it.
No.
I mean, insurance companies, they have this battle going on all the time where, you know, there's an accident. So my insurance company will go, well, you've hit my motor, so we're now in hire, right? But if you pay us out the damage, which is clearly you've gone up the back of us, you pay us quickly, we're out of hire or we don't even go into hire. But because they long it out and they don't get back to you, they don't have the staff to cover all this stuff, and it goes on and on and on. They let it sit in the background all the time. It just mounts up.
What, you've been hiring of a replacement vehicle?
Yeah, because my driver's out of a vehicle, say for instance, I've had a shunt, yeah, back end's gone, whatever, can't drive the vehicle, he has to go in a replacement. I can't give him another taxi because he's only paying for one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But if you
can't
did give,
charge him for another one, and I ain't
give
getting
him another
paid for
taxi,
one.
would you be giving him another taxi at standard rate, or are you going to increase the rate?
That's my insurance company's responsibility.
So they would increase the rate to earn money. So there's a fiddle there, isn't there? That was
Well,
what we kind of...
You could call it a fiddle, whatever you want to call it, but it ain't right. I don't support it.
No.
But
So-
I'm in it because I have to be in it.
Yeah.
It's necessary evil because I can't keep supplying more cabs when
Yeah.
people are hitting my cabs. So that's just one thing. And it's the same for a musher, right? He's had an accident. So Dave, you've had an accident. You're out of a cab, right? How'd you go on? Your insurance company is going to put you in hire. they're going to have to put you in higher, and that is a huge cost. And then the repairs take
Why is
ages.
it a huge cost? It doesn't have to be a huge
It doesn't have to be because they don't talk to each other and they don't sort it out quick enough. They let it rumble on for ages and ages. They let arguments happen when there's no argument to be had.
And they don't know market value?
Of what?
Renting a cab is market value. You should be a standard price of what renting a cab is, and yet they're paying well over the odds, from far as I can understand it, for the rental of a cab.
What is market value of rental of a cab, though? That's another argument.
Let's say
because
you're going to charge more. Let's say it's £500 a week,
Yeah.
which is more than you thinking. But your replacement cab, I'm going to charge you £500 a week for a replacement cab, which is giving me.
They're charging what it should be. This is going to be even more controversial. They're charging something where they're making an actual profit.
The value.
Imagine that. Imagine someone makes a profit out of renting a cab. Even I'm shocked at that.
Yeah, I understand where you come from there.
Yeah.
Which obviously you're going to get vilified for the fact that people think cab rentals are too high. Anyway.
Yeah.
And
they're already too high, but these guys are actually making a profit out of this because they have to.
Yeah.
You know? Because what happens is they're renting them to people on and off all the time. Like short rentals. So they get smashed to pieces. No one cares about them cabs. So they have to charge more, right? Because there's more wear and tear on the cab. There's loads of reasons why they charge more, but they actually make a profit out of it. They have to be in business.
Everyone's driving them like Schumacher.
Well, yeah, because they don't even belong to, as far as they're concerned, they don't even belong to their fleet. They belong to the insurance companies. So, yeah, it is. Well, it is a massive cost.
On that aspect, then, would you expect that because a cab is a working vehicle and a trade, so if you rent a cab, renting of a cab should be more expensive than the rental of a car from picking up at an airport to drive around as a tourist? Renting a cab should be more expensive than that, when in actual fact it isn't. You are cheaper, yeah, in general, than renting a car from the airport to take yourself on holiday. Is I think if you're going abroad, you might get a car at the moment for about £40 a day.
If you're very
I
lucky.
don't know what the price is in this country because we're more expensive. But if you went abroad, you will get £40 a day cars. But here, I don't know.
Nowhere near that. Loads more.
You're going to do research, Dave, on renting a car.
You know, what
I'd
the
imagine
options were.
£70 a day, maybe.
I was going to look at what the options were, just get the right figures.
Yeah. Of
But
what?
What the TfL's consultation was. I remember
Consultation?
doing it, but I can't remember the
Oh, I
exact figures.
see. Yeah, going back to the meter. At the moment, like last year, we had a big increase, didn't we? And I think their reasoning behind the smaller increase this year is because we had a bigger increase last year. On like Grade 4. The longer journeys, they're lots more money, right? You go out to Heathrow.
There's a
Grade
full
4.
There's a full.
Yeah, when you go over a certain amount of miles, it clicks into another rate, don't it?
Oh.
Did you know that, Dave?
Yes.
Yeah. That part of it, I think they're regretting putting it up that high. But have we lost business? I don't think we have. Has your taking's gone different?
No.
No, but it's hard. This is hard to judge because
I
we've
do
gone.
understand people who say that we're allowed to price yourself. I do get them what they're saying. But the thing is with it, if you don't go up with everyone else, you're not a charity, are you?
No, you're not a charity.
You can't work for nothing. And
Well-
you can't say don't put the prices up when everything else has gone up.
So has the cab price gone down? Has the insurance price gone down? Has the fuel price gone down? Has the parts price gone down?
And
None
why
of that's
should
gone
you be the-
down
why should
or
you be the
levelled
ones?
off.
Why should you be the ones to help the government and lower inflation? Why? Let the government do
Why
it.
are we always the knock? Why have we always got to take the
Well,
knock?
I think we
'Cause
should go
we're-
large.
Because we're at the top end where people use us because we're premium. Most of them people don't look at their bank. They're not worrying about money so much.
No.
Because if they were worrying about money, they would be getting on the bus, or they would be getting on the tube, or whatever. There's so many other transport options in London. They would be using them, wouldn't they? So I just think that we need to look after ourselves a little bit better, look at that meter, help each other, and prosper.
I think you wouldn't have black cabs if it was, if you weren't earning the money.
No,
You
you
wouldn't have
wouldn't
black
do it.
cabs, would you?
No, you wouldn't.
It'd go. You've got to have the increases. You've got to have them.
Have to. It's not much of a debate, really, is it?
And what about the cash? When they put on there something about cash.
I've seen a lot of cash the last few days.
Yeah, you do. Some
in
days
the
you
cab.
see cash and some days you don't. But what do you think in having... So about some people that put a sign up and said...
Cash only.
we take... No, you can't put that up. Yeah, but you can have up there...
Bean, this ain't 1983 anymore.
I know it's supposed to be
Or
approved. Isn't it? It's got
2000.
approved by TfL. But let's just say you had a sign... Credit cards taken, but cash preferred. What would be wrong
I've
with
seen
that? Yeah, I've seen some drivers do have it up, and I don't know what's approved. And you're supposed to send it in and get approved.
I have customers all the time saying to me, "What would you prefer?" They ask me. You know,
What'd you say?
I just say whatever.
Yeah.
I don't say any. I just say, look, it's up to you.
It's up to you, but
Pay
cash
me
is
how you
king.
want to pay me.
Yeah.
I don't say that, but it's up to people, isn't it? Like people are all different. Like to me,
They know.
you've got to pay your bills
If
out
they've
certain
asked the
places.
question, they know that you really should prefer cash. Everybody knows that in every line of business, people
Course.
generally prefer cash now.
Yeah.
And going back, I mean, the price of insurance, it's way out of the league. What is the insurance for a cab now? If I'm a first-time driver,
Every day I see on social media some cab driver saying, "Can someone send me that insurance list because my insurance has gone up 500 quid?" And I think to myself, like, that's just not. That's not reasonable. It's unreasonable.
It is.
But it's because of all the problem with staff. It's just for me. It goes back to staff. I don't think insurance companies have got enough claims handlers anymore.
But partly of it's got to be partly to do with what you've just said about people renting expensive cabs while you're off the road.
What
and
do we
then,
do
and then
about that,
spending 3 months off the road for a bumper.
What's the solution? What's the solution? You've got to have a replacement cab.
The only ones who can get involved is people like TfL. People like that can get involved. Anyone like that, the insurance is not going to listen. Who's going to listen to us?
But the thing is, we have to have replacement cabs because we can't give them another cab. We could, but we'd have to be paid for that as well. It's
Paul,
difficult.
what about the I crash into you? I've got 500 quid worth of damage. You've got 500 quid worth of damage. I'll fix yours and I'll fix my own. Let's get it done tomorrow.
Do you know what, Dean? We try that out nearly enough on every non-fault accident I ever have. I always try that with the person that's hit me, and they're like, "I need to speak to my insurance." People just don't want to do normal business anymore. People just want to try and see what they can get from a claim. When they see a claim, and when we hit someone, their eyes light up. They're like, "Bingo! I've won a prize, man!" You know, and it's just like you think to yourself, I'm trying to do good here. I'm trying to be the better person, but no one else wants to do it.
Yeah.
You know.
So it's not easy.
But I don't feel like I'm going to beat them, join them. I never feel like that. I never think, well, he's doing it to me, I'm going to do it to everyone else. I'm not in that mindset.
But when you say, for instance, someone hits your cab and it's off the road for a month, just say it's off the road. Can't you claim? And it's a non-fault. It's their fault. Whoever, Mr. Smith over there. Can't you claim for the loss of the rent for 1 month?
Nope.
Because that was what you would think you would do, wouldn't you? Say, right, here's proof of what I get every week. So there's 4 weeks I've lost. That goes on the claim. They have to give you that. Because that would be a cheaper way for the insurance, surely, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
It would, but you want to see all the questions you get from the other side when these claims are going through. Like you've got to give them a list of all your taxis and when they were in and when they were out. You've got to show them that all your utilisation report. You've got to give them all that. Show them that you haven't got any spare cabs. Because if they see that you've got a spare cab, so for instance in January we've always got 3 or 4 cabs kicking around. Because people bring them back. If they see that and you've had an accident, they're like, "Well, you could have given him one of them." Hang on a minute. He's only paying me for 1 cab. How can I give him 2? That's not right. Yeah. But they expect you to do that.
Why?
Well, why?
Why would they expect you to do that?
Yeah, exactly. Why should they expect me to do it? But that's what they expect you to do. The system's
that doesn't seem right.
Completely strange.
I think everything is getting worse and worse. We're supposed to be becoming more and more efficient with computers and everything else, and we're getting worse and worse.
We are.
And insurance companies are the same. Literally, my philosophy on insurance, I told you yesterday, I only have legal insurance. If you're not required by law to have the insurance, I would never have it. I don't believe in it. I reckon the money you save over the years of not buying any of these insurances.
Oh, yeah.
Because they've obviously taken a calculated risk. They know the accumulated money coming in is going to outweigh the accumulated money going out in as a general rule of thumb. They ain't going to lose. And the amount... So when I first started driving a cab, my insurance was about £300 to £400 a year. I think it's about 3 to 5 grand.
It could be. Your first insurance could easily be that. I know some
easily
guys...
be 3 or 5.
I know some guys that are paying that for their first insurance, like younger guys, 3 or 4 grand a year for their first year. I paid 2.5 grand in my first year. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and that's 10 years ago, right? So, yeah, that sounds about right.
That's a lot of money to try and come up with I mean, the other thing is, going back to when I first started driving in 1996, we were earning the same amount of money you're earning now. So we've not had no wage increase, but we've had an expense increase going up and up and up and up. And a cab back then, I think, was about 22,000 to buy. And slowly it went up 26, 30, 32. Now we're at 70, maybe. I'm not going to include the HP repayments because I don't think you should. That's not part of the cost. So it's a double in the price or a bit more of a cab over the past 30 years. It's a 6 times increase in insurance. Running costs of the electric cab have gone down, though, haven't they? In terms of the running costs.
Yeah, MPG's that is lower. Yeah, I think we're on. I still think we're on level par with the TX4 from
for running
2017.
And that insurance you're talking about first year, is that brand new vehicles or what?
Any cab.
Any cab at all?
Yeah. For a younger guy, obviously. Yourself,
3 and 6. Mine was 3 and 6.
But also for an older guy, you get a massive complication once you turn 70 or 60.
Yeah, so you go the other way.
He had that 10 years ago.
It's a tipping point. Yeah.
When is it?
Your peak period or your cheapest insurance is in your 50s.
Yeah.
And then as you go over into 60, it starts to go back up as if you're going back down from your 20s towards 21.
Yeah.
So once you go up into 70, 75, you're like a 21-year-old drunk drug addict. It's the same thing because like 76, 77, they're going to be going.
Weirdly, my fleet cover has no upper end on the age.
Right.
I could have an 110-year-old on my policy, but they won't do anyone lower than 21.
Well, they can't do anyone lower than 21.
They
25?
won't do anyone lower than 25.
So you can't have a driver who's younger than 25?
Not at the moment, not with this current insurance, and it really upset me because I had someone in the summer from the school.
Yeah, the 2 Mo's. I
couldn't rent to them.
Do you know what their solution was? Did they go to someone else who
They
actually
ended
has
up with one of my competitors? But they obviously came to me first because they wanted to be on my fleet.
But
I couldn't help them.
He's got a different insurance to you.
He obviously has a different underwriter to me. But you see, I have to select carefully my insurers because of so many things. There's so much risk.
Yeah, I couldn't do your business, Paul, at all. It's not my kind of thing. It never has been.
It ain't my kind of thing.
Do you think it's?
I wish I was just a cab driver again.
Do you think it's an headache, Paul? Renting out cabs. Do you think it's an headache?
Yeah. It's a massive headache. Absolutely huge. Like every day is different. Look, I'm not complaining. It's given me a good life, and I've got so many friends because of it. But it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah.
It's you're taking massive gambles. You've got massive risk on the road. Lots of people. I've got people that don't pay their rent. I've got people that damage cabs. I've got people that leave cabs in a complete pigsty.
Yeah.
No matter how much you do for them, they don't care. But on the other end of the scale, I've got drivers that I've been friends with for 10, 12 years who respect us, and know what we're about. Yeah, it swings and roundabouts.
You ain't going to get no sympathy from the general public.
I don't want any sympathy. I'm not looking for sympathy. No. It's fine. We've all got our problems in our jobs and lives. I'm not saying that.
You still got to have insurance, and you still make money. You just got to go work and get it. And you've got to shop around. Sometimes, like, I think insurance, if you stay with the same insurance company, after a year or two, they just put it up anyway. And if got household insurance.
You have to change. It's unbelievable.
Oh, that changed so long ago.
You have to keep an eye on it.
That scenario changed so long ago. You don't get nothing for loyalty anymore.
No.
If you're an old school business, like me, I feel like I'm old school. Like I would give my drivers a bit of loyalty like they give me, and I wouldn't give a new driver a better deal than someone who's been with me for so long. Do you know what I mean? It don't suit me. But this insurance scenario is you have to go on these money supermarkets to get the better deals all the time.
It pays to shop around.
It pays to shop around all the time. But it's monotonous, isn't it? No one wants to do that.
Yeah, but if you're going to save yourself 500 quid and it took you 2 hours work, it's 250 quid an hour.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you got to look at it like that.
Oh, I know that. But it's just...
Every single year on my scooter, I change insurance. And my scooter, which I keep because I love, is £125 this year for my insurance.
You got a mobile licence?
Yeah, I've got a mobile licence, full mobile licence. But if I don't, they will send me a new insurance policy next year. It'll be £250. I'll instantly do a quick search and I'll get £125 again. There'll be another company that says, come to us, we do £125. And that company will do the same thing. So there's no loyalty factor. They're offering new customers a deal that is better than any loyalty factor.
You have that luxury with private vehicles, but in the taxi industry, you don't have that luxury because there's only a handful of underwriters. So you just end up you're going around in a small circle that's big, that small tiny circle. So you can't really play them off against each other. It doesn't really work anymore. It used to. Yes. 10 years ago, you'd have loads of underwriters that wanted to cover you because they see you as a bit better than a little bit more elite because your drivers are good and blah blah blah. What's happened? Whether they've bunged us in with private eye now, I do not know. That's what people keep saying. People keep saying we're putting in the same pot as same risk, but we're not the same risk.
They keep lumping this together, taxi and private eye. That's all they do all the time.
But we're not the same risk. We're not the same risk.
No.
If we're the same risk, I might as well go and buy a load of Teslas because
the blurring is occurring.
Yeah, the blurring is occurring because we're not getting. Like the insurance cost has become a reason why it ain't worth having a fleet anymore. If the insurance keeps going up and up and up and up, it ain't going to be worth it to people to do.
I think they, like anything, they push you so far, and they're watching to see how far they can push and how much money they can take off you before you pip,
you go
or you scream or whatever.
Yeah, you go goodbye. Yeah,
and then they all stop.
Yeah.
And at some point, everyone, and as I say, without the likes of TfL or someone getting involved and the government level getting involved, they're not going to listen to one person, are they? They're going to have to listen to all of us, and someone just say it's now becoming unsustainable. That it's getting too expensive.
I did read today because I was doing a bit of research on insurance because obviously it's for me it's coming up to that time where renewals happening and it's difficult. And apparently, all the main things they dealt with in 2024 and 2025 should see a little bit of a level off and maybe a small decrease across the board. If that's true, great. We're all good. But if it's not, and it keeps going up the way it's been going up the last 2 years, it's unsustainable, like you said. It's not the price of the vehicle, it's the price of running the vehicle. The price of the vehicle, it's gone up, what? I mean, we've had it for nearly 7 years. It's gone up £15,000 in 7 years.
$2,000 a year?
Something like that. Yeah.
What over there doing?
Yeah. Falling asleep. Talking about insurance is falling asleep. But I don't.
If everything else is, and everyone knows, no matter what you do, everyone knows it's all gone up. The cost of shopping, the cost of everything. How dear is everything? How can you expect cab drivers not to have an increase? And as you say, the system of public voting is...
When you see it on social media, when people are talking about it, cab drivers and other people talking about it, you'll see some people go, well, we don't want it to go up anymore because we don't want to lose business. They're terrified.
It's
quite enough out here as it is.
This
and that. We don't want... Uber are undercutting us and blah, 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 blah. No, mate. No.
Yeah. You mustn't compare yourself to
No.
What's the cheapest insurance that you know of someone can have as a perfect driver, perfect age?
1,600 quid, 1,700 quid. Yeah.
Right.
That's not cheap, though, is it?
No, it's not cheap.
You think that's cheap?
Yeah, do you know what? What for private? Yeah, for public liability and everything. Yeah, I was probably paying.
Honestly, think that's cheap.
I was probably paying 1,100, 20 years ago for an S-Class or 7 Series, and I know it's not a taxi as that, but it was carrying the public. So I was paying that 20 years ago.
I don't think it should be any more than £1,000 a cab.
Right, well, I'm just doing a little bit of quick maths. If there's 17,000 of us and we all paid £1,000 each, there'd be a pot of 17 million each year to fund the paying out of claims.
And also, the thing is, you could have a higher excess. Like cab drivers go, right, I'll pay £1,000 a year, but give me between 5 and 7 grand excess.
Excess?
Yeah.
I think 500-700, but still
no. Higher your excess because you then pay most of your own claims, don't you? Mm-hmm. So if you have an accident, you have to pay it. You pay it.
Yeah, Jim, we're paying it anyway. Yeah, that's the point.
Because basically what you're paying for on your insurance premium is for claims handlers. But if they're not handling your claims, what's the point in paying them? So you might as well just pay out your own claims, like you say, have a pot, have a minimum amount. Like it then becomes a bit like third party, don't it? You're not even allowed to have a third-party policy on a taxi, right?
£5,000 excess would be good if you did it and you did it yourself and paid for it yourself, as long as it don't go down as a claim, fault or otherwise, non-fault or otherwise. Yeah. So in other words, if I was to do something and it cost me $3,000, I don't want them knowing about it. It's none of your business.
Correct.
Because that's why I've got that access.
That's the other problem. That's the other
Mind
problem.
your business.
That's the other problem, Dave. If you have a non-fault claim and you tell your insurance company, that affects your premium, even though it's not your fault.
If you had the option to say, I'll have a £5 grand excess, but you mind your business up to £5 grand. Anything up to £5 grand is my business and I ain't telling you.
Yeah.
Make that the rule. Then you could have a little bump, or you could get your own bit of work done and you ain't got to tell them. Because if you did have a little bump and tell them, they want to put your insurance up another 15.
That's what I'm saying, because they've then got to start work on your insurance. So every little time they pick up a pen and pencil, computer, whatever, that costs them money because they're paying a claims handler, right? Yeah. Even though that claims handler don't hardly pick up that. I mean, I keep getting the same claims list over and over, and I kept saying, right, well, that's been settled, that's been settled, that's been settled by non-faults. It shouldn't even be on there. Okay, we'll do that. And then you get the same thing in 6 months later, and it's still got them on there. Just haven't even touched them.
No.
You know, and you think to yourself, what am I paying out for here?
If you killed a passenger, what would be the claim on that, the value of that?
Could go into millions. And that's
how many passengers have we killed over the past 20 years?
I don't know.
So well, that's free.
Yeah.
That's a good one. I mean, look, I know of these incidents. They do happen. They have happened. I'm not going to go into detail, but that is my ultimate worry. That's my
you
worst
are aware
nightmare.
That someone has killed someone, passenger or pedestrian, in a cab?
I know of over the years that people have been killed in road accidents involving taxis. It happens. It's just
London taxis.
Yeah, it happens.
Okay, because I'm doing some numbers. Listen, if you just said that the average at the moment, the average amount of insurance being brought in by just the black taxi trade alone is going to be somewhere in the region of £30 million per year. So there has to be, because if you just average it out, of £1,500 to £2,500, that's over a year. So
over how many cabs?
17,000 cabs. There's £30 million worth of cash coming in, being spent. And these insurance companies, they don't do it for the legality. They do it for the profit. They know that out of that revenue, there's going to be the part that never gets spent.
Yeah.
So it just comes back to this idea of I might start my own insurance company.
Yeah. People have said that. I mean, you can self-insure. There's that way you can self-insure, but you've got to have certain things in place. You've got to have
assets of some sort.
You've got to have a pot of money sitting somewhere, a lot of money sitting in to underwrite.
Yes.
That. Yeah. It's complicated, but it can be done. But these are for people that have got thousands of vehicles rather than hundreds of vehicles. Yeah.
But we have thousands. We are 17,000 vehicles.
Well,
let's work it as our single business idea.
We could self-insure.
Yeah.
But that means that cab drivers and unions and organisations and things like that work together. Imagine that shit.
That's complicated.
Yeah.
But it also might mean that someone like Dave with low insurance gets the ump because he ain't ever making a claim. But the guy who would have been on the £4,000 insurance, who's getting reduced insurance because he's on the £1,000 insurance like we all are, he's making lots of claims. He's taking out of the pot.
Mine's is about 1,800 quid a year, 1,800 or something.
Right.
But I also got to cut little bits on. I got like a gap year, like to make it up. If in the first 3 years, 4 years, I think you get up to with a gap insurance, they pay out the difference, don't they? With a gap insurance, so
I'm not sure if that is a scam or not. Myself.
No, it's up to 15 grand. So if it ends up being 20 grand in the difference, you're only going to get the 15 grand.
Do you know what, Dave? I've never took one of them policies out.
I do, and I know someone who did it with a Jag years ago, and on the last day of his insurance, the thing got written off by a machine in his yard, and he got paid out. So I know it does work.
A machine in his own yard.
But then I've had cabs written off, and the insurance company's paid the whole finance off. I had a gap. So what's the gap insurance for?
The gap insurance is if you buy something new and it costs.
I know what it's for.
60 grand, and then you 2 years later it's only worth say 45. The 15 grand makes the backup. You can go and buy another new one.
Yeah, it's a myth.
What is it? What are you going to get? What would you get then?
I've actually experienced this happen, and the insurance company pays what the cabs.
That's the insurance. But you've got two insurances though, haven't you? Two to claim from.
No, you only got one.
No, I haven't. I've got two.
Well, you got the gap insurance.
I've got two insurances.
No, I know. Well, I'm saying to you that gap insurance is a little bit of a. I wouldn't say it's a scam.
They will pay up to a maximum of 15 grand. I think off the top of my head.
I would say that gap doesn't exist as much as you think it does, especially not on a taxi.
Well, you lost me. What is the gap? What are you talking about? Gap. What's this idea? You're
Gap
using
between what my vehicle's worth as a 21 plate to what a new one would cost. What is that?
Right,
that's the gap.
Yep.
I mean, off the top of my head, I can't even think. What's
20
a 21
right.
worth?
So as
You're
far as
valuer.
I know,
You're
you didn't take finance out on your taxi.
No finance.
So why do you need gap insurance?
Because I want more insurance on belt and braces. I like it.
You have bought something you do not need. I am absolutely, categorically, 100%
But
sure.
the vehicle now
Because you don't even
3.5,
have
4 years
mate.
old.
You don't even have finance, mate.
I don't know. No.
So what? so if your cab was written off, right?
Yeah.
What is it? 21 plate.
Yeah.
So it's worth 40 grand.
Right.
Yeah. If your cab was
How
written
much is
off,
a new one? Now.
Brand new.
Yeah, at the moment. I don't know. How much is one?
72.
70.
72. How much is that? What's
Yeah,
the difference? That's 32, isn't it? 32 difference?
Yeah, but the gap insurance is not going to pay you.
No, it's going to pay up to 15. I keep saying to you, up to 15.
You'll get.
So you'll get another 15 on top of the 42.
Nah, gap insurance is to plug the gap between the finance on your vehicle.
No, it's not.
All right, we'll have to go back to this.
Yeah.
We'll have to come back to this.
That's only if you haven't got finance, how can I be plugging the gap for the finance?
That's what I'm saying.
I'm not. I'm plugging the difference between the value of what the insurance is going to give me. They're going to give me the value of a 21 plate. They're not going to give me a brand new thing on a 21 plate, are they? They're not going to give me the return on that. They're going to give you, as you say, let's say 40 grand.
They'll give you 40 grand.
So let's say it's 70 for round figures. There's 30 grand. The gap insurance say we're not paying the 30, we pay up to 15. There's another 15. Without that, that's 15 grand out of my pocket, isn't it? It cost me a long and a year for the gap insurance.
So what you think is the gap insurance is going to give you...
It cost me
a week.
No, for a year. So what you're thinking is if you have an accident and your 21 plate's written off, they're going to give you the value of a brand new cab. That's what you think is going to happen.
No, I don't think that's going to happen at all. I think my insurance will pay me the 40 grand.
Yes.
So and my gap insurance is a separate insurance policy.
Yes.
Which pays up to 15 grand of the gap. So the gap's 30, they're not going to pay that. So obviously you get the 15 because they... What do you think they're going to pay? Nothing?
I think the gap insurance is for the gap between what the finance gives you, what the insurance gives you and what finance is left on your vehicle. That's what the gap's for.
There's no finance on the vehicle, Paul.
Well, that's why I don't think you need it.
No, you don't understand it. This is the first time I've ever found something you don't understand. And you know what? This is why the bloody insurance is dear. They know what they're talking about. You're going to ring up your insurance company and ask them because you don't understand. If someone like me paid cash for their vehicle, 3.5 years later, it's only worth 40 grand, say only, and then to buy a new one 70, it's 30 grand in the difference. You can buy yourself a gap insurance. But for a while, my gap insurance covered the gap. It doesn't cover the whole gap.
Yeah, it's going down.
But at one point, when it was... So there was 10 grand. And the idea being was if you bought it and once you drive it off, you lose the money. For the sake of a long one, in the first 2 years, you drive off, someone writes it off, but they're only going to pay you, oh no, look, that's only worth, and you're 10, 15 grand. So it's like, for me, insurance companies are just bookies.
Yeah.
They're bookmakers.
Of course.
I'm giving them 100 quid in case, and if it don't happen,
they win 100 quid.
I've lost that. And if it does happen, I walk back in there and I go Ascot's and I got myself another brand new cab.
Okay.
That was the idea of me, like that. I don't know what he's going on about there with
I've never heard of gap
finance when I ain't got no finance.
Gap insurance is especially useful if you took out finance to buy your car, bought a car that depreciates quickly, leased or have a contract hire deal on your car.
Bought or depreciates quickly is the category Dave's under.
Yeah.
Told you. Don't know what you're talking about.
Vehicles that are likely to be legible, cars that are less than 8 years old, cars that have fewer than... Yeah, okay.
It's not often you're right, Paul, and you're wrong again.